The Hermit Reversed. Even when reversed, the Hermit is an extremely spiritual card, and often has to do with institutions and organizations, everything from a bank to the entire Christian church. This card indicates a link to spirituality even if you are an atheist, even when it comes up in reverse. The Hermit in reversal can mean that you are too focused on finding the truth about some matter when you might do better to just let it go and move forward with your life. General, there is nothing wrong with having a need for some time alone. Don't be afraid to take it. Problems can arise, however, when one spends too much time alone or is too fearful of being around other people or being vulnerable to them. Life is about vulnerability. Work, you are likely to finally get to the bottom of some work issues which have been troubling you or which have been unclear. Don't hesitate to ask questions not only of yourself but also of other people to understand more about the way things are going at work, and the way they should be going. Remain conscious of the fact that if there are current issues at work that are troublesome, that you may in some way be contributing to them. Love, when the Hermit shows in reverse, it still indicates that it's possible that a romance from your past will be rekindled. You should ask yourself whether that is really what you want. If you are thinking that you want nothing more than a romantic relationship, look at your behavior. Does it align with that analysis? Are you making a point to meet people, to reach out, to make yourself available for a relationship? When the card appears in reverse and you are already in a committed relationship, it's important that you make a point to spend time, energy, and attention on each other, no matter how busy you are. Finances, when the Hermit appears in reverse, it's a particularly good time to seek good advice and good analysis on your financial endeavors. This is not a safe time to fly blind and just assume that everything will work out in the end. If you don't understand where your money comes from and where it is going, or how to invest, and so on, this is an excellent and important time to educate yourself. Health, when the Hermit appears in reversal, your current health practices may no longer be working for you or you may need to develop some healthier habits. This is an excellent time to consider even very small steps which you could be taking to improve your health. Rome wasn't built in a day, and most important health changes, lasting changes, don't usually happen overnight either. Take one step at a time. Spirituality, when the Hermit appears in reverse, you may have been going too much on your own for your spiritual benefit. Yes, personal and private contemplation is important, however, fellowship with like-minded people is also important. Reach out. You will be glad that you did. Tarot history. The history of the tarot is shrouded in mystery. Very little in the way of concrete information is known about its origin, although many things have been written about it. We will probably never know the truth, as fact and fiction seem to be irrevocably mixed nowadays. The tarot originated in northern Italy in the early 15th century, sometime between 1420 to 1440. Despite the fact that it is often attributed to originating from China, Egypt, India, or Morocco, to name just a few, there is absolutely no evidence that this is the case. Nor, as is often quoted, is there any evidence whatsoever that the tarot was brought to Europe by the Romanis. The name tarot is often attributed to being Egyptian, Hebrew, or Latin. This is not the case. The earliest names are all Italian in origin. The cards were originally called carte de triomphe. Around 1530 the word tarocchi began to be used to differentiate them from a new game of triumphs that was in vogue at the time. The etymology of this new word is unknown. The German variant was known as tarot and the French tarot. The symbolism for the tarot is drawn from the culture of medieval and Renaissance Europe. The tarot subjects are distinctive to European Christendom. The symbolism does not come from Egypt or any of the other exotic locales often mentioned. It is often stated that modern-day playing cards evolved from the tarot. This is not the case. Modern-day playing cards came to Europe courtesy of Islam. They were an adaptation of the Islamic Mamluk cards. They appeared quite suddenly in many different European cities between 1375 and 1378. These early cards had suits of cups, swords, coins, and polo sticks, and courts consisting of a king and two male underlings. The tarot adds the Fool, the trumps, and a set of queens to this system. Sometime before 1480, the French introduced cards with the now familiar suits of hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. The Joker is not original to either the early form of modern-day cards, or to the tarot, but instead originated in the USA around 1857 and was used as a wild card in poker as well as the highest trump in euchre. It is also often stated that the Catholic and Protestant churches outlawed the tarot and all who used it in an effort to stamp out so-called heretical teachings. This is not the case. The Inquisition documented what the Church considered as evidence of heresy in great detail. The tarot was not even mentioned. After the Reformation, less controversial images for the Pope and Papess were substituted by card makers as the Church had objected to the original images. It is often said that the tarot was not used as a divination tool prior to 1781. The tarot was used as early as the 16th century to compose poems describing personality characteristics. There is historical evidence that in one case at least these verses were presented as relating to the person's fate. In other words, divination. Divinatory meanings were assigned to the tarot in Bologna in the early 1700s, and this is the first unambiguous evidence of tarot divination. Ordinary playing cards were connected with divination as early as 1487. It is not unreasonable to think that the tarot was also. The tarot has often been attributed with being a pillar of Western Esoterica occultism. This is certainly not the case. The first occult writers to discuss the tarot were Court de Gabellin and the Comte de Melot in 1781. The tarot was not mentioned in any occult work for the first 350 years of its existence. The terms Major Arcana, Minor Arcana, High Priestess, and Hierophant are anachronistic when referring to the older tarot decks. The historically appropriate terms are the trumps and the fool, the suit cards, Papess or Popess, and Pope. Likewise, pentacles and wands are relatively recent substitutions for the traditional suit names of coins and staves or batons. The original Italian titles of the cards were in some cases different from the later French titles that have become familiar to us through the Tarot de Marseille and its descendants. Also, the ordering of the trumps varied considerably in Italy where the cards originated. It is not known which ordering is the earliest one. Even the number of cards in the deck varied a great deal. So care should be used in making statements about the original meaning of the cards based on the familiar titles and ordering. Many believe that the Waite-Smith Tarot is the original, standard, or most authentic tarot deck in existence. This is absolutely untrue. The Waite-Smith/Rider-Waite deck was created in 1909, not even 100 years ago, making it a relative newcomer in the almost 600-year history of the tarot. There is actually no definitive version of the tarot.